Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing great. I know it's been a rough October, but hopefully I have some good news and maybe from YieldMax coming soon. So YieldMax so far doesn't have a diversified product yet. Each of their ETFs have been like single name stocks, but that might be changing soon. So there's something called YMAX and YMAG uh, in some SEC filings. Of course, none of this is final and it's definitely subject to change, but this could be really interesting. So, the Magnificent Seven performance unfortunately hasn't been that magnificent in October. The results have not been looking good, especially with Tesla. I mean, that was a brutal 10% correction, at least, depending on where you when you bought. And I'm hoping Nvidia will turn that around in November, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed because it's been kind of rough. So I was looking through like the SEC, the Edgar filings. So you can look it through this yourself at your own leisure because it's a pretty lengthy document. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's complete. Uh, I'm hoping there'll be an actual prospectus soon. So if you go to their website, you have to search by title trust 2, or maybe you just put like title trust in the search bar, and you should come up with filings such as this instead of looking for yield max. Their Rule 24 um, notice is what I'm referencing. They have like other documents on there, but like I wasn't sure what they were related to, or if they're just updates on pre-existing documents. But I found out something interesting. Um, so far they haven't put like a management fee on these two new ETFs that should be coming soon. Actually, let me preface by saying I actually don't know. I've tried looking through the document, but it'll probably take a while for I guess depending on what the SEC uh, docket looks like. So they'll probably have their hands full with Bitcoin ETFs. So maybe once those get out of the way, then maybe they'll turn their attention to these two ETFs. So far, like no expense ratio is noted. And if you look through like the documents further, you'll notice like it's like some of these names look familiar, especially this one, Pestraccelli. Other YouTubers have done interviews on him for the YieldMax products, so when you get a chance, you could probably look at those too. So this is a name that most of us have probably at least heard of, and these two also like these other managers are CFA charter holders, so that gives me a little bit more confidence that this is coming out. So the fine print on YMAG. So it's a collection of some of their version of like the Magnificent Seven stocks. So Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. So even though it's only seven stocks, these are some of the stocks that have been powering like the performance of the S&P 500 for most of the year. So what I did was using the October 27th closing price, I did an average price of like some of those single name ETFs. And then I also did an average on two things. Like they're just like a straight average of all the dividends distributed so far. And then I also did a average on like their worst month's dividend, if that makes sense. So just to give you like kind of more realistic numbers. So because I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, especially in this type of market. But even on like the worst dividend performance, which is based on option premiums, the worst of so far has been 25%, which is still pretty good considering you have seven uh, stocks in there, and then you also have if it's just like a regular like that regular average at 41%, that's not too bad either. So hopefully the price remains roughly around the $20 range, or and not too much below that, because some of them unfortunately the prices of the ETFs themselves have been kind of sagging. So the average I believe was around like 18 bucks or so. And of course that's always subject to change. And then there's the second one, like the YMAX. This is in addition to like the seven that I mentioned before. They also like this new YMAX one. This will also include the new single name ETFs such as AMD, Coinbase, Disney, JP Morgan, Netflix, PayPal, ExxonMobil, the ARK ETF, and then also Square. And if you notice in this footnote, no, not a footnote, but I guess like one of the notes that I highlighted here, um, this will also include some of the newer ETFs that haven't even been mentioned yet. Because on the website, I noticed there was like a mRNA was also there. There might have been another one, but I forget off the top of my head. But anyway, any new ETFs will also be rolled into this one, according to this. So hopefully, you know, they'll have more interesting products coming out soon, and then that'll be rolled up into this big one. So I did this using the same methodology. I just went to the website and looked at all the distributions, plopped them all in a big spreadsheet. Again, I did a straight average on all those ETFs so far, like the distributions, and then I also noted like the worst month. In some cases, some ETFs only had one month of history, so I included that as well. I didn't include any ones that didn't have a payout yet. So even like the worst average for this one, it's a little bit higher than the YMAG at 27%. But the average is a little bit lower, but still it's still respectable. I mean, especially 39.3% is still pretty good. Even if it drops to only 30%, I mean that's still pretty respectable and it's still pretty good. So hopefully, there's some good stuff coming for maybe the end of the year or maybe the first quarter of 2024. So I would say like the pros, this will be really good for those that don't already have yield max exposure. But I would still say that it's always good to have other income-based investments as well, such as treasuries, dividend aristocrats, bonds, and what have you. So of course, like the usual risk is we don't know what the expense ratios are. I'm hoping that they can keep this at like around 100 basis points, or like 1% or so. But it might go a little bit over because I guess there's multiple ETFs that they're trying to manage at the same time. But hopefully they'll cut us a break. And then of course the usual risks are that you don't have control over any individual option strike selection. The implied volatility could collapse, but who knows? And of course, like the price of the ETFs can get cheaper because of net asset value erosion. And the yields are definitely not consistent month to month, and you can't borrow against them. And I would say like doing this yourself can be kind of stressful, kind of a pain in the butt too. So, so hopefully I have high hopes for these two new products, YMAG and YMAX. And if you like this type of content, could you consider giving this video a like and a subscribe? If you have any questions, just put them in the comment section below. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Have a great one.